Я вырубаю микрофон.
Hello.
Hello,
Yeah.
Professor.
Hello, Professor.
Hi.
Hello, class.
Yeah, nice to see you all here. Okay, so I see a lot of participants today. That's good. So please, everyone, mute and let me share my screen. Okay, so as promised earlier, today we're going to talk about how you should organize your team development using GitHub. Okay, and so I already got one video that I already share. I'll share you with this video. I prepared that for a different class, for internet programming class, and it shows how to collaborate using GitHub, just purely on a command line, GitHub, using Git comments. But in this particular workshop, I'll show you how to collaborate using IntelliJ. Okay, so you don't even need to kind of remember the Git commands that you will need to. Okay, again, if you want to know about this thing in more advanced thing, if you want to know what's happening behind the scenes, what Git commands are being executed, and how this process is actually working, I'll definitely share that video with you. And obviously, this one is also being recorded, so you can rewatch it again if you missed some part. Okay. So in this particular workshop, I'll show you how to organize your team development using the IntelliJ IDE and GitHub. Okay. So okay, let's go ahead. Can everyone see my screen, by the way? Everything is clean?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. So what I want to do is now, first thing that I would like to do is I'd like to go and create a simple GitHub repository. But you don't have to go through this step because you already got your GitHub repository for your project. So you don't, if you go and accept the assignment or become a part of the team, then you already have your GitHub repository, so you don't have to go and create that one. But for the sake of this class, I will go and create a new GitHub repository, okay, and then I'll actually start kind of imitating the team development, okay, process in this GitHub. So okay, so I'll be going to create a new repository here. So I don't need this one. So I'll call it Java 2020 GitHub Collaboration, something like that. It's the name of the repository. And let me go and create a README file. Let me make it public. And okay, git ignore file, I'll add it later. Okay, so I'll go and create this repository. So yeah, let me go modify the README file. Okay, so I'll go in this project. You will learn how to work with the team using GitHub. Okay, so let me press and commit this particular change. So as you can see, my repository is empty, doesn't have anything other than this README file. And most importantly, it has this GitHub URL. So I can go and copy that GitHub URL, and I can go into my, let me close everything that is. Okay, so I can go into any place in my directory. So let me go and find the place I would like to clone my. Yeah, if someone, I think someone is, his microphone is on. Can you just, if you don't have any questions, can you just turn it off? Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. So okay, now that's silent. Okay, good. So I'll go into, let's say I'll go into labs. I'll go into labs, and here I'll go and let me go and create a new GitHub Collab project. And here oops, GitHub Collab project. Here I'll just go and open my Git bash as usual, and then say git clone and this URL, right? So it goes and clones the entire project into this particular folder. Okay, so let me go and open the paint just to indicate what's actually happening. So you guys kind of keep track of the, so let me go and use the Git paint, this one. Okay, so let me, okay, so what I will be doing is I will keep track of changes and the things that I'm doing, and I'll be depicting them inside in the way how this is actually organized in GitHub and this one. Okay, so first of all, now what I did is goodness, it's too big. Can use the pen and make it 2 pixels, I guess, to be fine. Okay, so I can go, I already have this, yeah, let me make it bigger. So I already created my GitHub repo. Okay, and this is a one big line. And this line is called the main branch. The main branch of my GitHub repository, right? So it goes and creates this GitHub repo, okay? And this is the main branch. Let me go and continue this till the end, because it's going to leave, this thing is going to leave as long as my project is valid, okay? So sorry for my drawing. I'm not a good drawer, but I try to kind of explain. So this is just the lifespan of my entire project, okay? So what is this? What is this main? What is this main? This main is, let me just highlight that. This main is the master branch, the main branch of my project. So how can I go and know about that? So if you look into this one, you're going to see this main here, right? So this says, okay, if you go and click this drop-down box, you're going to see something called branches, okay? And in Git world and even in the GitHub, okay, we have this notion of branches. So what are the branches? The branches are different flows of your development process, okay? So let's say your project is not always linear, right? So like most of the times, if you're developing a project individually, the changes are incremental and the changes are linear, right? So sometimes, like, let me go and do the annotation here. So you make one change, right? This is a commit. So let's say you started the project here. It's your individual project, right? And this is your main branch. This is your main branch, okay? So you start the project and then you make some change and then you make a commit. And then you go to the next commit. Okay, and then you go to the next and so forth. So commit is kind of save points in your project, right? So any change you make, you first stage them. So you do git add, and so you basically, before going and committing, what you do is git add, right? Git add means staging your changes. Staging means you're declaring you want these changes to be recorded into your next commit. That stage means, like, for example, you made 5 changes in 5 files, and then you're declaring that, okay, I want these 3 files to be recorded into my next commit. I don't want to stage this, for example, 2 files. So this is how you're gonna kind of declare certain changes in your project, and then you would like to kind of make a save point for those changes. So when you say commit, you're making a save point to those 3 changes you made, but you have still undeclared changes, unstaged changes, and you might either need to stage them at some point, or you might perhaps need to untrack them, and so forth. So certain things you might decide. Sometimes, most of the times, you commit all your changes if these changes are the changes of the source code, right? So you go and make this kind of incremental changes, and at some point, yeah, you reach certain things, right? So what are the branches? So again, the main branch is your parent branch, is your master branch. So every time you go and create a Git repository, it goes and creates this main branch for you, right? But sometimes, let's say, even if you're working individually, your project came to a certain point where, let's say, you're kind of hesitant about making this change. Let's say you don't know if this change is going to break your code, or you want to make a big change, right? So, and it is sort of a feature, let's say some new feature you'd like to add into your project, right? And let's say you want to use some new technology, new components or anything, and you don't want to, okay, at this moment, let's say at this moment, you want to make this new change. So, and you don't know if this is going to break your code or not. So what you're going to do is you're going to create a parallel branch, and maybe, let's say, call it feature 1, right? So, and this feature 1 will stem from this particular commit you made, and then you keep your changes in this particular branch. You can switch to this particular, your main branch as well, which is the stable branch, right? So it doesn't contain your new feature yet, but you can keep working on this one as well, or someone else can keep working on this particular branch too, right? So it can make commits there. Yes, it will not contain your new feature 1. It will not contain all the new technologies or things that you're doing here, but it will not stop. People can go and work on this branch parallelly. And then you can keep, if you want to work on this particular feature 1, you can switch to this branch, right? And then work further, right? So now the changes in these 2 places, they're not affecting each other. If you make a change here, it will not affect your feature 1 branch. If you make a change here, it will not affect any change here. So you got this new lane, a parallel lane path for development, right? And this is the reason why you need branches, because you don't want to interfere with the changes that are seemingly independent or seemingly not related to each other, and you still want to kind of keep developing. Maybe 2 developers want to develop in parallel, but they don't want to interfere with each other, because change of one developer could affect change of the other developer, and so forth. They don't want to kind of mess up each other's work. Okay, so they would like to work independently on multiple features, right? And at some point you finish your feature here, and then you say, okay, I would like this particular feature to be in my main project, right? So I want it to be, okay, now this particular project needs to have my new feature that I've been developing. Okay, so in this case, what you're going to do is you're going to merge your branch. Okay, this is called branching out. So branch out, and this is called this direction is called branching out, and this direction you're merging. Okay, so you're merging. Now you're making all these changes part of your commit. Okay, so all the changes that you made in this commits will now move to this particular point. Okay, to this particular merge point. So imagine that, imagine this branch is something like this. Okay, imagine that you kept this branch never happened, right? This branch never happened. You kept, like, you were thinking about feature 1. Okay, like you said, okay, I need this feature 1, but okay, I don't have a time to develop it. Okay, I keep developing other things, and you made commits and commits. And at this point, you just sit and just in one day or in one commit, you made all these changes. You made all these changes. Okay, it's this kind of experience here. Okay, that's happening here. Okay, you decided to move all these changes that you made. You've been doing, let's say, for a month or so, you decided to write them in one day or in 1 hour and then put them into this commit. You got it? So, but of course, if the feature is a really big feature, you cannot do it in one single commit. I mean, it's going to take lots of time and you cannot do it, okay, physically, you cannot build one single feature in one in a reasonable time, right? So what you're going to do is, again, you would like to go and develop it independently, and then you would like to move all these changes that you made, okay, here into this particular point. And now your main branch contains this new branch, okay? So this is happening, this is all happening not in GitHub, this is all happening in Git, in your local computer, okay? The GitHub is just a repository, it has nothing to do with your version management. Is it clear? So you go and create a Git repo, you're using Git init, and then you go and create a feature and so forth. You're just individually, you're working on your project and you're creating branches for you each features, and you're working on these features the time when you want to, and then you're merging them into your main branch and so forth. So you don't need GitHub at all to kind of develop and use branches in your code, right? So Git is your local program, local version management system, and it basically contains everything that you need just to work individually, right? But if you want to work with a team, then you have to do this entire process of creating branches and merging these branches, okay, on an online platform, okay? So the GitHub is in fact such platform, which helps you to create these branches, okay, in your online, and make sure that each developer can work individually on a particular feature. And at some point when the feature is finished, it should be able to incorporate all the changes, okay, right on the GitHub page. And it has a particular workflow for that, okay? It's a developer kind of how the developers organize their incremental development into their project, right? So we're going to talk about that, right? So we're going to look into this and decide, okay, how we can go and all that, do these kind of things here. Okay, so
Professor,
yes.
if we merge new branch to main branch, and will it be like disappeared, or can we like continuing developing this new?
Okay, that's a good question. That's a good question. So most of the times, the common practice is you remove this branch. If, okay, your feature 1 is done, right? You remove this branch. This branch doesn't need to continue its lifespan, okay? Sometimes there are certain types of branches you would like to leave them, okay? And in the production, people go and create, like main is just the production, but they have several branches, several levels, like not feature branches, but staging branches. They are called staging branches. Let's say the stage branch and the dev branch. I'll explain that later on, but those branches, they can keep living. So before you go and hit the main, you might first merge it to the dev. Like, let me go and draw it here. So this is just your feature branch, right? So feature branch is you go and create a feature, and once you finish the feature, you just delete this branch. You don't need to maintain this branch. If you would like to fix a bug related to this feature, you can create another feature branch, okay, or hotfix branch or something, and make the fix, and then again merge it back, right? So you don't need this particular branch anymore, okay? Those feature branches are ephemeral, okay? So they are temporary. Once they serve their purpose, they need to be gone, because otherwise it's going to make it difficult to work. So the answer to your question is yes. If it's a feature branch, you have to go and delete this branch after its job is finished. After you go and do the merge, I mean, even the IDE suggests you if you want to delete this particular feature branch, and I'll show you when it suggests you this particular action. Okay, so it asks you whether you want to delete this particular feature branch or not, and you have to make the decision. Okay, that is one case. That's good. That is kind of the normal way when you're developing a feature. But there are certain cases, and this happens especially when you're working in a big teams and you have something called, I don't know if you heard about that, CI/CD. Okay, the continuous integration and continuous deployment. Integration. So this is something that this particular infrastructure is something that developers use to ship their products to the production. Okay, that's why it's called continuous integration, continuous deployment. And there are systems like GitHub also has that one. The GitLab is one option. So let me give you the examples. GitLab for CI/CD systems. There is another one called Azure DevOps. Okay, and there is what was that? I can forget. The one that I really like. God, my memory is so this okay. It starts with T. Can someone remind me? Me. It starts with T. Yeah, Travis. Sorry, Travis. This is the one that I really like. Travis. CI/CD. Okay, so Travis is a service that is especially for doing the CI/CD orchestration. Okay, so all that stuff is done here. You can go and check the documentation and see. I really like the Travis. Okay, sorry for that, for forgetting the name. But this is the really good thing. This one. So let me go write down this Travis as well, if you're really interested. So it all goes and organizes all that. Build processes and then merging processes and everything in one place, right? So Travis CI. So there are a lot of different solutions. Okay, I'm not going to list all of them. GitLab and Azure DevOps, Travis. These are the ones at least I've been using throughout my career. So and I find them very neat and useful. Okay, so this is CI/CD, okay, continuous integration and continuous deployment. And the big teams, big companies, they use this, they set up this infrastructure and they do this kind of thing. So what if this kind of infrastructure is set up, then you might have branches in GitHub, you might have branches. Let's say you got a main branch as usual with your commits and everything here. But you might have as well a dev branch, okay? And before that, you might have a staging branch and maybe some testing branch as well, something like that. But most of the time, the staging is okay. Staging is something for UI testing or something like that, okay? And you might go and create as many branches as you wish. Okay, for example, a beta test branch or something. So what happens is now your features and everything, they don't go directly to the main, right? Obviously, your main is something in the production. You don't want, let's say you got thousands and thousands of clients sitting in this main, right? And you don't want any feature which has a bug or something to hit the production immediately, right? So what you want to do is first you have to go and give it to stage branch. You have, let's say you got a feature branch here, feature one branch, right? So you got this one. So you do the merge here. You do the merge. And now let's say you got some internal QAs and everything, which go and do the internal testing. And if there is any problem, they report you, and then you make, I'll show you how to fix all that stuff. But the point is that the users that don't see anything about this particular things that are happening in this branch, right? This is just something that you maintain to make sure that if you go and push things here, it's only available to your internal team, let's say to your QAs, let's say, right? So, and internal team QAs goes and make the changes, the tests, and make sure that everything is good. Okay, and only then maybe the product owner, okay, the person who is responsible for the product, not the developers, the product owner may go and decide to put it to some dev branch where, okay, where some beta testing or alpha testing is happening. So alpha testing is something like it's the real users, right? It's the real users. The beta testing is even broader range of users. Okay, so it could be like this one. So your dev branch could be some sort of a beta testing, and your product owner goes and does the merge here. So it works in the dev branch, like for like say 30% of your users are now using dev, and everything is working kind of, maybe not 30%, it's too much. Maybe 20% of your users are working with this dev, and they're not reporting any issues, no tickets, nothing, right? Now the product owner is sure that, okay, that is good. Like we've been doing the testing, we've been checking the performance, everything. Nothing got seriously bad, okay? After 1 or 2 months of running things in the beta, okay, and making sure that a lot of users are using it, okay, then the product owner may decide to, at this point, okay, may decide to merge it. So it's opening here, to merge it with the main. So now it goes and becomes the released version of your product with a new feature and everything. So it takes a lot of time until your feature 1 hits the release, okay? It doesn't go and just immediately hit the release like this. So there, in these cases, you might have the dedicated branches like this, stage, dev, main. Again, it's depending on the company's own, okay, internal policy, how many dedicated branches you have. But the point is, these branches never get deleted. They need to be kind of maintained in order to make sure that your let's say features, they get and hit the main, and that every stage is kind of one level upper. So you're all opening up your feature to a little bit broader set of users. And when it hits the main, okay, all your users are now having and enjoying that particular feature, and it's not just like going down. Your system is not going down, causing any kind of abrupt issues and anything. Okay, so all of that stuff is kind of very secured. So please just understand this kind of things might also happen. In this case, your branches don't need to be cleaned up, right? So only feature branches, when they serve their purpose, they need to be deleted. This sort of branches, okay, they may have their right to leave. Okay, that's what I wanted to ask. I think I already spent a lot of time for that. But anyway, let's go ahead. I think it's interesting if you guys really want to know how this whole process is organized anyway. So let's go and look into our case. So what we did is we created this GitHub, okay, repo. And the next thing that I did here is, okay, so I made, after making this one, I made a README file, right? I made a README file. So let me go and call it README file. Note, I made it inside the same main repo, right? So this is my GitHub repo. And here it's me, the developer number 1. And let's just, for the example's sake, let's make this guy as the developer 2, right? So I made this git readme file. I made a commit after that, and that's it. Okay. So the next thing that I would like to, the next thing that I did here is I cloned this commit. So I clone this repo to my local computer, to my dev computer. So now I got this main branch on my local computer, right? So again, this is going to exist in my life, in my project folder, as long as I have it. So let me just go and draw it till the end. Oops. So So let's go and make it like this. Okay. Let's go and make sure that developer 2 also did the same thing. But okay, go and did the same thing. He went on and then said clone. So this is my awful handwriting. Anyway, hope it's clear. Okay, so now I got my my line. Okay, good. So now I have, let's say, this main branch copied locally to 2 computers, and it is stored in the GitHub as well as okay, as its single source. Okay. So now what I want to do is I would like to open my project in my dev1 computer and then make one modification. Okay. I'd like to make change into my README file, for example. So how can I do this? As usual, I open my IntelliJ, right? Okay, so let me go and open a new project. So I'll say new project because I want to make a new IntelliJ project, right? And let me go and select. So I'll go and select the folder to which I cloned my project. So I'll go and select this folder. You remember, I created this particular folder and then cloned it here. So I press OK, I press finish. And I'd like to open it in this particular window. Okay, cool. So, I created a JavaFXML project, by the way, but it doesn't matter. Let me go and create a JavaFXML project. So I'm not going to do a lot of Java here, okay? So don't. The point is, I'd like to make some changes and show how those changes should be incorporated. Okay, so let me go and first of all set up my JavaFX project as usual. So let me go and add this global library, okay. And let me make in the source folder, let me make the module info file. So I'll go and create, name this GitHub Collab module. And I'd say requires JavaFX. Okay, JavaFX, why it's not, did I import them? Check. I didn't import them, so I have to go and create add modules. I press OK. Now I imported it. Okay, so I press OK. Now I can say requires JavaFX FXML requires JavaFX controls, and I'll say opens sample. That's it. So this is my module.info file. I see I already made a lot of changes into the original directory, right? So, and you can see all of these changes are now highlighted with red in your IntelliJ, right? So if you go and look into this one, it says idea, this one, all of these files are now red and some files are green. But what red means in your screen is that these files have been added into your folder, but they are not staged for the next commit. They are untracked. If you go and press commit, okay, these files are untracked. You can see unversioned files, and you go and say a lot of different files here that you are kind of that you created. I mean, your IntelliJ actually created all of that stuff for you. Okay, so you got all of these things created but not staged for your next commit. Okay, before I go and stage all of these things here, next thing I'd like to do is I'd like to go and create a gitignore file. Okay, so the gitignore file will untrack. So I'd like to add it to my next commit. So this gitignore file, you can see it is created inside my project source folder. I guess it has to be created in the root. So let me go and up. No, yeah, it's in my project root, so that's cool. So it has to be in your project root, okay, not inside the source folder. So now you can see it's staged for a commit, it's green, and it's empty, right? So what does this gitignore file do? It untracks unnecessary files from your commit. So you don't have to, let's say, when you go and do the staging next time, it will not include certain files that are like local to your PC, local to your development environment. So what are those files? What are the files that you don't want to share with your fellow developer? Okay, these are something that is specific to your computer. For example, this folder.idea is something that is specific to your particular working environment. Okay, so you got the particular version of the IntelliJ, and you have particular setup of the IntelliJ. IntelliJ simply goes and creates these XML files in that particular folder. So these are your preferences. They have nothing to do with the project and nothing to do with your friend's computer, okay? So that's why you don't want to kind of share these files. You don't want them to be tracked in your commits. That's the reason you need this gitignore file. This gitignore file will keep track of all the changes that you don't want to, stage into your commit. What you want to stage to your commit is maybe something that is written inside this src directory. So this contains all your source code, and this source code is important thing. It's something that your fellow developer needs to run the software on his computer. Okay, these are irrelevant. Even the database files can be irrelevant too. Your out files, let's say the output directory is also irrelevant. So let me go and first run this particular software. So let me go and create a simple hello world. Okay, so I'll go and say text, say hello world, and I close that. So let me save it. So I'll save it, and I press play. And make sure that works here. So now it works. It's showing me this hello world thing as expected. So I close the project. So now what I got is this out folder as well. So this out folder also not necessary. I don't really need this folder because it contains the compiled version of my software. My developer, my fellow developer, my other developer can also do the compilation on his computer. He doesn't need this compiled version, okay? And I don't need to go and share it in my GitHub repository too. So there are certain things you don't really want to push to the GitHub. There are certain things you want to push to the GitHub. So most of the times, things that you would like to push to the GitHub are your source code, are things like configuration files, source code, okay? Anything that is like images perhaps, right? That are necessary for your software to run, but not your compiled app, okay? Or not the settings of your IDE, or certain things like that are not relevant to the project or relevant to your like other programmers' settings. So how can we go and ignore these things from our project? So it is very easy in IntelliJ. You can just right click here, and then you go to the Git menu here, and then there is an option called Add to Gitignore. Okay, so you go and do Add to Gitignore, and it goes and adds this particular directory into Gitignore, and then you go and do the same for the out folder, git add to gitignore, and it goes and adds this into your gitignore file as well. And then this IML file is also not necessary for the developers. So I'll go and add this into gitignore as well. So now I included 3 things into my gitignore file. So you can see this is my gitignore file. The only thing is now you can see that gitignore file is green. It means that it is staged for commit, but it is not committed yet. So I have to go and do the commit now. So if I press this check button here, now it shows me what files are staged for the commit. Okay, so it's saying, okay, there are 2 files that are staged for the commit, gitignore and this module info. So I'll go and say my commit message saying I say git ignore file created or something like that, and then press this commit button. So now it went on and then made the commit for 2 files, right? I can see my git history in this particular terminal. Okay, cool. So now what is remaining is now it's showing me 3 more files to be committed. They are not even staged, right? These files are not staged. These things are not staged. So I can go and stage them to my next commit. So let's go and make a next commit now. So if I press this particular button again, and now it's showing me, okay, so you already gave me the gitignore file. So now I know which files to track and which files not to track. Now, next time I won't be asking you, do you want to commit IDEA? Do you want to commit out folder, or do you want to commit this one? I'll ask you only those files that you would like to commit. Okay, first of all, you can select the files that you want, okay, to commit. So you can say all these unversioned files, I would like to make a commit, and then let's say added hello world label, something like that, and press commit now. And now, okay, so now you say commit, no errors. So now your IDE also asks you, do you want to stage all the files that you add manually? Okay, it's also asking, sometimes it might ask you this kind of thing. So you can say always add. So if you do this, for example, if I go and create a file here, let me go and create a new Java class called, I don't know, person. Okay. It will ask, do you want to stage it manually? So I can say, remember, don't ask again. And I press add. So now you can see this is green. So this is staged. This thing is staged. So next time I press this one, it's already in my stage. Okay, so I can say I added the person. So I added the person Java. Let's say next time I'm going to add a new class called, say, car. And if I add car, now it didn't ask me anything, but it is green now. And if I go and press next, you can see that it is automatically tracked. So I don't have to go and select all the files. Okay, and something. So I can press commit. So now I made a bunch of commits, right? I made a bunch of commits. So let's go back into our picture here and see what actually happened in the picture, right? So I made all these changes. And note that I made all these changes where inside the main branch. So all these 3 commits that I made, they all happened in the main branch, right? In the main branch. So now what I can do is I can go and push them to my GitHub repo, right? So I can go and push them in my GitHub repo. So what I'll do is I'll say push. Oops. So I'll go and say push, and it will be in my GitHub repo, right? All the changes that I made will be in this repo. Okay. So let me go and do this, make sure that everything is there. So I go and press this push button, and it asks you would like to push all those things. Yes, you say yes, and it goes and pushes things. You're already familiar with this particular process, right? So if I go and refresh my page, you can see all the files, including the source file and all the files here. Okay, cool. So now my friend can go and do the pull again. My friend can go and do the pull again. So let's say my friend was simply cloned my application, and he didn't, let's say for the sake of argument, let's assume that my friend didn't do anything. So he would like to get all these changes onto his computer. So he wants to make all the changes in his computer. So what he needs to do is he needs to pull this particular thing into his computer. So he says pull. So what is pull? So this is the pull, right? This is the pull. So if I go and say, if my friend, once he cloned everything, all he needs to do is just need to go and click this blue button. So it says, okay, do you want to merge? Okay, you say, okay. And it normally says all files are updated because no one else actually made any commit into this particular folder. So my friend, if my friend goes and does that, he is going to get all the changes, including this car, main, person, all these changes on his computer. He does the pull, okay? My friend does the pull and he makes the pull to his computer, okay? So now he got all these 3 changes that I made, he got it to his computer, okay? Assuming that he hasn't made any change, right, on his side, everything will work perfectly. But we don't want our friend to be sitting and waiting, okay, until we finish our changes, right? Or we cannot wait our friend. Listen, I mean, what if my friend goes and makes a change here, right? What is going to happen in this situation? Let's say my friend goes and creates a car file on his own, right? So now I also created a car file, this car class file. Now when you're calling, when he is going to call this pull method, let's say he, for the argument's sake, let's say my friend also went on and then made create car file. For the argument's sake, I also created this car file, right? He goes and pulls this thing. Now there is a conflict, okay? There are 2 files with the same name, or even like the same name and with a different code. And most likely the code is going to be different. Okay, the code, the things that my friend wrote and I wrote, they will be conflicting each other. Okay, so now this conflict should be resolved somehow. Otherwise, my friend cannot merge. Okay, this is called, by the way, pull is also a merge. He cannot merge these changes from the remote server to his local main branch. He cannot do the merge because there is a conflict. I have a car file, my friend went on and created a car file. Now we cannot do the merge. I mean, they need to resolve the conflict. And I'll show you how to do the conflict resolutions as well. So wait a sec for that time being. So now let's go and start from the right way of doing. So I want my friend to be doing. So now instead of making these changes in the main file, what I will be doing is I'll go and create a branch. Okay, so now I'm back into my computer. Now let's say I would like to go and create a, let's say, okay, bus Java file. Okay, so how can I go and do it? So first of all, I have to come back into this corner of my IntelliJ, and here I have this option called New Branch. So I have to go and click this. It asks me, what is the name of this branch? So I'll go and call it, I don't know, feature 1. And then press create. And now I can see that I created a new branch. And now currently I'm in this feature 1 branch. I'm in this feature 1 branch. Let me go and draw it here. So I'll go and draw it here. So I'll go and created a branch. And this branch has a name. It's called feature 1. Goodness, this is a very bad right there. I would rather use the my goodness, why it's so bad? Yeah, I think that is better. So I'll go and call it feature 1. Why the hell is this? Okay, you got it. I think you got it. So so this one is now a separate branch now, right? So in this branch now I can go and my friend can go and create his own branch from here. Let's call it feature 2 branch, okay? And he goes and starts working on his branch. So let's say this is a feature 2 and this is a feature 1. Okay, so in this feature 1 branch, I go and create, let's say, a new file, and I call it, I don't know, other transport, let's say, bus, something like that. And I create it. Okay, I have this event log. Let me go and put this event log just to make sure everything is this one. And I create this one. I can make my changes. This is a bus class, something like that. And then once I finish my changes, I press commit. It asks you created these files. I go and write some meaningful message. I say added bus and then commit. Okay. Now, what I need to do is I don't need to go and do this kind of merge in my local computer. I don't have to do it here. I'd rather write it like this. Wait a second. Where is the eraser? This is the eraser. Okay. So let me go and do it here because I don't want things getting. So, and then feature. Okay. So this feature, I made the commit here. Now I don't want to merge it with the main branch. I don't want that. Because if I do so, again, I have to push the main branch. And if my friend gets the main branch, okay, if he made a change, he's going to have problems, okay? So, and who knows, God knows what I wrote inside this feature 1 branch. So what I instead want to do is I would like to push this branch into my GitHub repository. So my F1, let's go and call it F1, okay? I don't really think that this is a good, right? So I would like to go and push this thing into GitHub, but now I want this GitHub to go and create a new branch called F1, and this is F1 as well. Let's go and call it F1. So feature 1. So I would like to push it here and continue developing. So now, how can I do this? How can I do this? This is my branch. I don't want to merge it with the main, because if my friend goes and pulls his main, it might go in conflict with his main, right? So the main, there shouldn't be 3 different versions of main at any given time. There should be only one version of main and at any given time, okay? That is the rule. If I just go and take a snapshot of these 3 mains, all of these 3 mains should be the same. And the single source of truth, okay, if they are going to be different, if they are different, then the different one should be in the GitHub repo. not on my computer, or on my friend's computer. Okay. Any given time shot, the main should be always the same for GitHub repo and for dev1 and dev2. But if anything is different, then the difference should be inside GitHub repo, not on local computers. So that is the rule. That rule I need to follow. Okay. So that's why I don't want to do any sort of merge on my local main. So instead, I go and create F1, and then I push this F1 to GitHub, and GitHub goes and creates new branch called F1 there. So how can I do this? So, okay, so let me go and do the commit. So I don't have the change. I already committed that, right? I committed this bus now, and I'm inside feature 1, as you can see. Now, what I can do here is I can go and press this push button as usual. So I go and press push button. So it asks, okay, do you want to push your local feature 1 branch to a remote feature 1 branch? It's a new branch. It says I'm going to create a new branch for you. Okay, origin is your GitHub URL. Origin is something that replaces your GitHub URL. So do you want to have this branch in your GitHub repo? It's asking you that. So I press push, and it goes and creates a new branch. Okay, I had this branch locally on my computer. Now it goes and creates it in my GitHub repo, and I can go and say I have 2 branches now, main branch and the feature branch. If you look into my main branch, it's a source file here, right? It's a source file here. It doesn't have bus here, right? It doesn't have any bus or anything here, okay? But if I switch to feature branch, then you're going to find the bus there, right? So now I created this bus Java file there, and it's inside my feature branch, right? Now I got a main branch. So let's assume that I want my friend to have a look onto my new feature. I cannot go and push things straight away to main. I want to have, before I go and merge this right in the GitHub repo, what I want to do is I would like to go and have my friend a look. So what I will do is I'll go and create a pull request. And this is, the GitHub already suggests you this thing on top of your screen. You don't have to go anywhere, or you can go and create it here from here, pull request. But once you do the commit, it simply goes and shows you that button. So you simply go and press this button. So what is a pull request? So you're going to go and write down all the changes you made. So I created a bus Java file and made this and that changes. Okay, so you go and write down all your changes and then make a pull request. So pull request is sometimes called a merge request. So you don't go and make merge implicitly. You have to make it openly. Okay, so all the developers involved in your project should see that you are about to make a merge on the GitHub repo. You're not going to make it right now, but you're about to make it, and you have to declare it through a pull request. So what happens here is, so you go and create a pull request. Okay, so the pull request has certain stages, right? So first of all, here it is allowed that you can go and do the merge yourself, but you can go into the settings and then disable the one who created the pull request to be able to merge the pull request as well. But because I'm just the one who's doing this whole project, I mean, I'm not disabling this one. So let's assume now your friend come to your GitHub repository and then clicks the pull requests here. This dev2, your friend, comes and says, okay, there is a 1 pull request. So not the code, remember, your branches are still there. Your branches are still there. Your main branch and your feature branch is still there. So your friend comes to this particular tab called pull requests and says, okay, now now you're saying, okay, now dev1 is saying he finished his feature 1 and he wants to merge it with the main. So, okay, now what I need to do is I have to go and do the review here, okay? So I go and press add this one, and I can see all your commits here. So every commit is, okay, I made just one commit, and every commit. So if I go and click this particular thing, it shows me the changes that I made on each file. So this is the change that I made. I created this file inside this one, bus.js file, okay? So I can see all your commits. If I have 10 commits, I'm gonna see 10 commits. And I can click any of these commits and see what changes it actually saved for that particular point. Because you made one single change, I can go and look into this one. And I can leave a comment. For example, I say, where the hell are the properties of the bus? Don't try to trick me, okay? And your developer is a very strict developer. I mean, your friend, so he goes and presses, writes down a commit here, the comment here in this particular line of code. He sees your command and says, oh, he's angry. And he goes and presses start review. Okay, now he wrote this particular thing here. And he might be unhappy with the name, with this particular package name. He says, why do you use a default package name? Rename it to something meaningful. Okay. He's reviewing your code in some way, right? He's writing down a lot of comments to each line of your code. The file that you just created, he can look into your files and he can say, okay, this and that. He's making all these reviews. You can go and you can comment and you can write down your comments as well. Okay, everything can be discussed. Every line of code can be discussed like this in your pull request. Okay, so let's say your friend went on and then write these kind of things, and then he comes here and then says, okay, I don't want, in this case, it's, yeah. So yeah, because it's me, the one who created the pull request, it's not allowing me to select this request changes or reject. This is called reject. But if someone else is doing the review, he should have this particular option available, okay? So you can go and, I mean, your friend can go and select this option and then press submit review, okay? So this is kind of, you can select approve, which means, okay, go ahead and do the merge, or he can say request changes. And in this particular case, he wants the changes, right? So he goes and selects the request changes here and then presses submit review. So now you're gonna see all his comments. Okay, you come back to your pull request again. It is open. You come back to your pull request again, and you're gonna see all the things that he's asking. And this particular button is going to be disabled, or sort of if he's asking for requests. And then you're gonna say, okay, now I got what he means. Oh, let me go back and hit my code. So what you're gonna do is, here he's asking for requests. So here he rejects your feature. Okay, so what are you going to do next? You come back to your computer and then come back to your feature one branch again. So this is your feature one branch. You come back to your feature one branch and then start writing your properties. Okay, first of all, let's say public string, say bus name, I say bus model, something like that. Sorry, not public, private. And let's say private integer bus ID. And I don't know, string bus number, and say driver name, something like that. Okay, so anything that is relevant to your case. So you're going to go and create these getters and setters. Yeah, let's say getter and setter. You just want to go and create a getter for that. And this one is, you're going to create a getter and setter. You're going to create another getter and setter, and so forth. So you go and create all these changes, and then you go and save the file, and then press commit now. And then you go and write what you made. I added properties for the bus. Press commit. And then once you made the commit, new commit, you press push again, and then you again push. Right? Okay, so what's happening here? So you've been working here again. You made a change here, a local change, and let's say, yeah, you made a change, another change here, let's say, and then you made a push again. And then you asked your friend to take a look into the same branch again to the pull request. Okay, the friend comes again into this repository, and then selects pull requests, selects this one, and now he's going to look into your commits again. And now he sees, okay, you made a second commit, so just 1 minute to go, and then opens that commit. And then here he's gonna see all the changes you made. Okay, so you added all these fields and everything, and then I can go and say resolve conversation, which means that I'm happy with this particular part, right? So remember, I was asking you to add all the properties. You haven't added the properties. Now I see you added all the properties here, right? Now I can say, yeah, just resolve the conversation. I'm happy with this particular change. Okay, I'm happy with this particular change. So now I can look into other things, other commits, or other files here. If I can go and see all the file changes, if I don't want to navigate through the commits, I can go and navigate through the files as well. So change it files. So now I resolved this conversation. There's only one thing unresolved. So let's say you haven't changed the sample, right? I haven't changed the sample thing, but okay, I think okay, I'm kind of lenient, but I can resolve. I can say, okay, I can say let's do it next time or something like that. Something, you can press start interview, whatever, and I might decide to resolve this one as well. Okay, let's just skip it for now. Okay, I wrote this what I'm planning. I say resolve conversation, and I resolved my conversation, and now I can submit my review. So all of my changes have been resolved now. So now if you come here, you look into your pull requests, okay, and then you can look into this one. You are not going to see any comments here. So you're going to see, okay, this is resolved. This is resolved. So there are no more comments remaining. So now you're happy. Now you're happy with all the changes, or let's say your friend is happy with all the changes, because all of his communication is resolved. You can see things got resolved. Show resolved, show resolved. All the unresolved communication will be shown here in this particular screen. So if you see all of this communication is resolved, then you're happy to go and click this thing. Most likely, it is done by developer 2, not by you, not by developer 1. Why? Because he's the one who's going to resolve all these points. And if all of his points are resolved, if there's no more change remaining, okay, you don't have any other comments, he can go and press this button because he knows, okay, he is the one who resolves the communication, okay? But if there is something that is remaining and he's still waiting for that, he can go and write down another comment, and then, or he can ping you in the chat and say, okay, please go and check your pull request. There is one more thing unresolved. Go and take a look into this one. And he goes and looks into and makes the change and makes the push in another push. And then you go and see, okay, that change is done. Then you're happy, you resolve the communication, and then press merge pull request. And it says, okay, it asks you to confirm. Do you want to confirm that? Say yes. Yes, I want to confirm it. And now once you confirm it, your pull request is successfully merged. And note what it is saying. It's saying, do you want to delete the branch? Do you want to delete this branch? Yes, because it's done its purpose. It's done its job. I don't need it anymore. So I can go and delete the branch now. Okay, so what's happening here? Okay, so now I approve. I approve all the changes and I do the merge. And I'll do the merge. So, okay. And most importantly, I also delete this branch from my GitHub repository. Okay, I deleted it. Now, these changes, all these changes are part of my GitHub repo, the main branch. Okay, so now as a developer who's locally here, I also need to go and make the deletion on my computer because I mean this branch already served its purpose. So I have to delete this branch locally too. So how can I do this? Now I go back to my main branch. Okay, so note I'm still in my feature 1 branch and it's local, right? It has been already removed from the GitHub repository because the pull request was succeeded. Now I come back to my main branch. I come back to my main branch and I say checkout here. Say checkout here. And now I can go, oops. I can go and right click this branch, and then there is an option called delete. I can place delete, and note that I'm deleting this feature 1 branch locally. So I can go and delete it. Now it is deleted too from my local computer. It is deleted. I don't have this branch anymore. Okay. So the next thing that I have to do is note that I'm inside the main branch. I have to pull all the updates back from the main branch to my local computer. So I press pull now. Now I pull everything. Now everything is pulled back to my computer. So now what's happening here? What I'm doing? Oops. After I delete the branch on my local computer, what I'm doing is I'm pulling the latest version of the main, which contains my feature 1 changes. I'm pulling them back to my local. Okay. Is it clear? Is it clear so far?
Yes, it's clear.
Okay, cool. So now let me show you. Okay, your friend does the same thing here, okay? If your friend goes and makes any change, if he wants to push his branch and all that stuff, he has to go through the same procedure as I did here, okay? And you should be looking into his code and commenting it and reviewing everything. And only once this whole thing gets merged into the GitHub repository, your friend can go and do the pull himself. You can ask your friend as well to do the pull. So you go, your friend goes and does the pull too. Okay, so your friend does the pull, you do the pull, okay, and this way you guys both, okay, have the latest version of the main branch there. But now, okay, now let's go and create a new branch. Let's call it feature 2. Okay. And this one is, let's call it feature 2. And this branch goes and makes changes inside this bus file. Okay. Inside the bus file. So let me go and make this branch. Call it feature 2. Okay. And I created a new branch called feature 2, and it already contains my pass file and everything. Now my friend went on and he creates his own branch here from this point. And he goes and calls it, I don't know, F3, right? So now I go and make change. Okay, let me be my friend as well, but I'll be my friend as well at the, once I finish with the feature 2. So let me go, and doesn't matter which file. Okay, let's go and add private property here called string color, and let's say double speed. Okay, so now I did this. What I want to do is I can go and commit these changes. So, my commit message is messed up, but anyway, I can go back into my main now. Now, note these changes, color and speed, are in my feature 2, right? So now let's come back to my friend's computer. So this is my friend's computer, and this is my friend sees. He sees the car, okay? He sees the, this thing, and this is his computer, okay? And so starting from his computer, he goes and creates a new branch, and he calls it feature 3. And in his feature 3, he goes and makes, let's say, 2 more fields. Let's say and let's say car number. He's doing his part. Let's say he's responsible for storing the driver number and car number and so other things. Okay, so he makes his changes, right? And he makes the commit. So added car name and driver, something like that. Okay, so he made his changes. So let's come back here. So my friend made his changes here. Okay, so now what's happened is I go and do the same process. Okay, I would like to push the, let's say I've been working with other things, okay, in my branch, and I think that it is done now. And my friend was working on this branch as well, on his branch. And let's say I'm the first one who is ready. Okay, doesn't matter who is the first one. Let's say I'm the first one who is ready. So what I'll do is I'll push, as usual, push this branch to repository. So I'm the feature, yeah. So let me go to my feature 2 branch. I'm the feature 2 branch. So my friend doesn't see this feature 3. Okay, sorry, I don't see this feature 3, and my friend doesn't see this feature 2. So we are just kind of in 2 different computers, let's say. So I'm the one who's the feature 2 now, and I did all these changes. Okay, so what I want to do is I would like to go and push. Okay, push my changes into the GitHub repository. So now I did this GitHub repository changes. So if I come back to my GitHub repository, it says, okay, you created a new branch called feature 2. You want to go and create a pull request? Of course, I want to create a pull request. Okay, now I go and create a pull request because I want it to be in my main now. It's going and checking this one. And now I go and do all these changes. Let's say my friend went on and did all the comments and everything. He's approved my change. So I go and press the pull merge, and then now it got merged. So what happens here is, so okay, a pull request is done. So this F2 is created here. Pull request is done. And let's say it got approved at the beginning. And now it is, okay, merged, okay. This is F2, right? So it is merged with the main branch, right? So now this, sorry, this branch is gone. It's not needed. And let's say I can go and delete this branch as well, right? And I go and pull things into the main, but let's say I'm not doing this at the moment, right? So I did this. Okay, cool, right? So I did this. I haven't pulled it yet to my main because, again, the reason I mean this one, the point is I made that. So let me go and wait a sec. Where is that? Yeah. So I made it, and my pull request got merged successfully. I delete the branch from the GitHub repository, and I delete the branch on my local computer. So I'll go into my main now, and I delete this branch here. Okay, so now what? Now we are done. Now developer 1 is done with his feature 2, right? Now let's say our friend is still working on his feature 3. And let's now switch to my friend's computer. What's happening on my friend's computer? So he's still working on his feature 3. So he makes another change, maybe, doesn't matter. Okay, so some changes. Now he says, okay, my feature 3 is finished. And now he presses commit. He presses commit. And now he goes and presses push. So he wants to push the feature 3 to GitHub repository. He goes and pushes it. He goes and pushes that. And he's going to see something like this again. Something like that. Do you want to make a pull request? Yes, I want to make a pull request. And now, what do you see here? Cannot automatically merge. Okay? So the problem is there is a conflict between, okay, this one. Let's go and create a pull request anyway. It's checking it and says, no, you cannot make changes. You have conflicts. You cannot merge this branch. Let's say I would like to know, let's say I went on and made here, and now what I want to do is, okay, note that this is happening after this guy got merged here. And now I want to create a new branch called F3. That is going to be created, no problem, right? This is push. That is no problem. But now if I want to merge it, it is not going to happen because this change, and remember, we stemmed from the same place. Remember, we pulled from the same place. And now this guy went on and made a change, incremental change. Now this change is in my main branch, but this F3 branch doesn't know about this change. It is not incorporating the change that happened into the main branch. It skipped. It was actually stamped when my main didn't contain this change, right? So now if I want to push my F3 into this branch, and if there are certain files that are conflicting, then I have to resolve these conflicting changes. Okay, not all the time this merge conflicts happen, but when they happen, I should resolve them. So how can I make sure that I can resolve this thing using IntelliJ? Okay, now I can see that I cannot merge it because there is a conflict in the car.js file. I can even resolve the conflict inside GitHub, but I don't recommend you to do so. So I even see which file is getting solved. So what I can do is now, look, I know that the main got changed. I know that main got new changes, this one. So what I will do is I'll switch to main. I'll check out to main. I'll check out to main. Now I'm inside the main. Now I'll pull all the changes into main that main got. So note, my car is still empty in the main, right? Right? You remember? We made changes and we added fields into the main here. And if I go to repo main, where is the repo main? If I come to my repo main, this is the repo main. In this repo main, I have this car.java file, and it contains these fields. In my local main, it doesn't contain all these fields, right? It doesn't contain all these fields. So now what I need to do is I need to pull all these changes from the repo to my, okay, local directory. So what I'll do is I'll say pull again. So I'll say pull. So now I got a merge conflict here. Merge conflict. A merge conflict. I cannot do the merge. So what I need to do, I need to go and pull the latest version of the main. Okay. So I pull the latest version of the main and I pull it to my main branch, So now what I need to do is, now I need to merge my main branch with the F3 branch, and I have to do the merge. Okay. So the direction is in this direction. Note the direction was always here in this direction, right? Now I'm going from my main branch to the F3 branch, and I want to bring all the changes from my main branch to my F3 branch. Okay, that's what I want to do. So how can I do it? So I cannot do this merge. So I got a merge conflict, and my still F3 branch is still continuing here. So what I will do here, I have my main branch. I got all the changes to my main branch. Now I want to bring these changes to my F3 branch. And note, this is my F3 branch, and this is my main branch. Let me just switch back and forth just to make sure that you understand the difference. I'm switching back and forth from main to F3. Okay. So now what I want to do is I want to bring my changes from main to F3, not the other way around, as we usually do with the GitHub repo. So what I'll do, I'll switch to my F3 branch, feature 3 branch. I click it here, and then I press main. And there is an option called merge into current, okay? I have to press this button. And if I do so, it says, you got a conflict. It noticed, like GitHub repository noticed that. It noticed, my IntelliJ noticed that. So it's saying, you got a conflict. You want to resolve it? And you're going to say, you got options. So you're going to have merge option here. You press merge option. And now it says, okay, from feature 3 branch, you got these things coming. From main branch, you got these things coming. And this is your current, okay, this is the place, sorry, this is the place where you started. So this, the middle one is the place where you started, this commit. You see, this is this commit. Okay, the left one, the feature one is your this commit. Okay, this is the, let's say, this is the left one that you see. This point is the left one. Okay, this is the middle one. This is the middle one. And this is the right one. This changes, oops. This changes is the right one. So This is the initial place you stamped when you create. This is the place from which you created the F3. This is the point from which you created the F3. This is your current state of your F3 branch. And these are the changes that are coming from the main branch. Okay. I know it could be a little bit confusing at the point, but once you understand this, it is easier. This is the place where this is the state of the main branch when you created F3. Okay. And this is the current state of F3. And this is the current state of main branch. This is the latest state of the main branch. So what are you going to do? You're going to resolve these conflicts. So you're going to say, okay, I want to include this part and I want to include this part. And you can make some changes here. Now you got 4 fields, right? This field and this field. Now you're going to press apply. So you merged, you resolved the conflict. You took this one and you took this little bit, the changes from this file. You took changes from this file and you merged them into your consolidated file. So you did this and you press apply and mark resolved. And now it did the merge. It merged your main branch, your latest main branch with your feature branch. Now the next thing you're going to do is you're going to push it back to your GitHub repository. Now you're doing the pushback. So what's happening here is you did the merge, you successfully merged it locally. So you're going to do a push again to this branch. This is your main still. You're going to do it push back. And you're doing it again to F3, okay? And when you come back to your GitHub repository and open your pull requests, and there's a feature 3. Now it's checking for merge. And now it says, okay, now there is no conflict. Now you can do the merge. Again, you go through this procedure of comments, okay? The file changes. And then you ask your developer or fellow developer to review your code, and he goes and does the reviewing. And only once he approves your changes, then he can go and press again this, whatever this is, this merge button, and then he can go write some comments here. And once he does that, in your GitHub repo, your feature 3 will become part of main. Okay? And now there will be another commit, which will be the one which represents your merge. Now your GitHub repo got incrementally updated. Okay? So you got F2, F3, and all these features are now being part of your main one. And some conflicts can be resolved like this, and so forth. So this way you can develop your GitHub repository parallelly, okay? Developer 1 is doing his features, developer 2 is doing his features. When the time comes, he pushes the features to the GitHub repo and asks the other developer to review after creating a pull request. The other developer goes and reviews that, and only if he approves it, he goes and does the merge, okay? And then again, if there is a conflict, it is the responsibility of the developer which developed the feature 3 to resolve the conflicts, okay? So you go and do the conflict resolution like this. You bring the latest changes back to your main branch, okay? And then you merge the main branch to your feature branch, and then you push your feature branch back, and then ask the reviewer to review your code again. And if your reviewer is okay with your code, he goes and does the merge here. And this way, you guys can go and develop and collaborate. And not only you, just all the developers in the world work in this workflow, okay? Professional ones. So you have any questions now? I'm sorry for a long, this one, but I hope it was understandable.
Good evening, Professor.
Yes.
I have a question about using Apache Derby. Can I ask?
Yeah, you can ask, but before that, I just want to answer, questions related to the topic.
Okay.
Is there any questions related to this topic?
Yes, I have.
Yes.
how we can come back to before 3 comments?
Sorry?
How we can come back to 3 comments back on the
Okay.
branch, in the branch.
In the branch. Okay, good. So that's
Yeah.
see, yeah, you can always go and see, for example, your Git log here. Okay, so this is your Git log, and you're going to see all your branches here. And you can go from each branch to each branch, I mean, commit, and you're going to see all the changes you made from commit, and who you can see who made them, when they have been made. Okay, so if you go and right click here, and then you can say revert commit, it simply goes back to that commit. But this is not welcomed. Okay, I mean, sorry, you can say not revert commit, checkout revision. If you say checkout revision, then it will go into that particular commit. If you change everything back to this particular thing, you check out with the with this particular commit. But this is not recommended. Why? Because if you want to make a major change, right, then you are supposed to go and create a branch and make all your changes in that branch. And if you want to back to your stable version, okay, switch the branches and continue working on that. Only if your branch is successful, then you go and do the merge, and then this particular feature comes back to this one. So work with the branches, not commits. Commits are, yes, you can come back to the save points, you can do the checkout revision thing here, and then it returns you back to your previous whatever changes. Okay, you can do that here, right? This is possible, but this is not how you're gonna, like, because the software development is not linear. You cannot go like forward, and then backward, and then again forward. It's not like linear. Okay, it's branch based. You always need to think, okay, when you are coming back, what's going to happen with the other commits that happened after that particular commit. So let me go and show you what's going to happen when you do the commit. So you guys don't get confused. So let's say this is your standard changes, this one. And then you want to come back to your commit, this commit, right? So if you go and say checkout revision, let's say if you go and say checkout revision, this one, what it will do is it will not take you back to this particular commit. It will not do this. Instead, it will branch out it will go and create a new branch from this commit, and then lets you go and make changes from this particular branch. Okay, it will give some name, some random name to this branch, but you will not be returned back, because if you go and make changes here, what's going to happen with this commit? What's going to happen with this commit? You don't know, right? All these commits are dependent on this change, right? Of course, you can revert back to this commit. This means you completely destroy all the changes that you made here. This is called reverting. And it's you have to be very, very careful when you do the revert. Okay, you just get rid of all these commits. All your changes will be gone, and you cannot kind of recover them back. You can go and check out from this commit, and then checking out means just go and create a new branch from this particular point in the development, and then you can make your changes from this place, which are basically parallel to your work. And then if you think that you would like to commit back to this current branch, you again do the merge again, and then you resolve all the change conflicts here that you made. Okay, is it clear? This branching is called checkout. This is called checkout. This is something that you do here. This is called checkout. Okay, and there is also revert commit. You don't do this revert commit. This is revert means all the changes that you did, okay, after that, they will be gone. If you say checkout, it simply goes back to this commit and then creates a new branch, and then in this branch you can go make your modifications. And then later on, if you decide to keep this branch, you merge this branch to your main branch again, as usual, as we did before, and then go ahead like this. Okay, is it clear?
Yes, Professor.
Any more questions so far? No more questions? Okay, good. So if you don't have any questions, I hope it was informative. Now you can go and ask other questions related to your project or whatever. Yes, you are allowed to use scene builder. Yeah, someone is asking if I can use the scene builder. Yes, you can use scene builder, no problem. You can use scene builder, yes. Yes.
Related to using Apache Derby.
Okay.
So watching the video, I got that clicking the batch file and rebooting the system is enough for using Apache Derby, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
But in my case, there is something that the class has not been found exception.
Did you register the class? Did you execute that batch file?
Yep. I did it and reboot the system.
Did you try to execute it using an admin as an admin?
How can I do it using as?
You say run as an admin. There should be like, I think you right click with control. It asks run as an admin. Okay.
I can't see.
You right click your screen and then you say run as an admin.
You should run the program as admin, like right click on the mouse on the program and
You mean?
Yeah.